All right, what's up, guys? We are back with another episode. This week, we're going to be talking about the PPA Pickleball video game that got released. We're also going to be talking about, are the Gen 3 Joolas maybe kind of back? And then just some other small news here and there.
Yeah.
But first, we got to talk about the lizard.
We got to talk about the bearded dragon. A lot of you guys seem to be quite confused last episode because we just completely did not acknowledge this little guy. This is my little buddy, Steve. Steve is my pet bearded dragon. He is a new recent addition as of the last month or so. But yes, Steve is the best.
Yeah, we wanted to see what you guys would say if you're listening, you have no idea what's going on right now.
Yeah.
But last week, Steve was literally just on Isaac's shoulder the entire podcast.
Yep.
And we just thought it'd be funny if we didn't say anything and see how long it took people to notice. Some of the comments were pretty funny.
Some of you guys didn't say you noticed until like halfway through the pod.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
But yeah, he's just chilling. Right now, he's just hanging on my shirt.
Yeah, he doesn't really move much. He kind of just...
No, he'll just sit there for a while, and if he gets bored, he'll start to move. A lot of times, he'll just climb up to my headrest of my my chair.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. All right, so yes, that's Steve.
Yeah, Steve.
All right. First thing we got to talk about this PPA Pickleball video game.
So bad.
So if you guys somehow haven't heard about this, PPA released a Pickleball video game for Steam on PC, Xbox, PS5, and I think the Nintendo Switch.
Coming to the Nintendo Switch. It's not out yet, but it will be.
Okay. I have thoughts about that. We're going to make sure to come back to that in a second. The video game is $50. It's not cheap.
No.
Right? This game... there's no other way to say it other than it's terrible.
Yeah.
It's not a good video game.
Especially at $50 is insane. I mean, I think somebody might have clipped it and put a screenshot where there was another like tennis game that graphics were way better, and I think it was on sale for like $3.
Yeah.
And that's honestly $3 would be overpaying for this PPA game.
That might be about right. Here's the thing. At 10 or 15, again, I think it's kind of similar to paddles, right? When you have a really expensive paddle, like let's say the Adidas Metal Bone thing was $260. So immediately your brain goes, this thing better be really good because I'm paying a premium for it.
Premium price.
So your expectation goes way up. Versus if you hear, let's say you heard the Adidas Metal Bone was going to be $100, your immediate reaction is, it might be okay. Like you kind of set yourself up to know what to expect.
Yeah.
At $50, I'm like, this better be a good video game.
Yeah, $50 for a video game is coming in on premium price.
Yeah. So if it had been 10 or 15, I honestly think a lot of the initial reaction might have been not as bad. The game is still really bad, but at least I'm not overpaying at $50.
Exactly.
So the price, absolutely terrible. Then I was like, okay, let's play the game. Let's see. Me and my wife, and I'll make sure to put B-roll for this in the video so you guys can see. It was horrible. I mean, there are times where your character is 4 or 5 feet away from the ball, swings, completely misses, and the ball still somehow goes back.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
Or you move to hit a forehand, and your player swings
to hit a backhand
and just whiffs the ball.
Yeah.
And you're right on top of it.
There was
Makes
that.
No sense.
One of the really bad ones when I first played it was my character went to go hit an Ernie. He successfully hits the Ernie and we win the point, but he literally just lands completely in the kitchen.
Like barely even jumps. Basically just walks into the kitchen.
Yeah. It's just like, how do you mess this up? Which is funny because when we played together, all of the Ernies that you attempted to hit, your guy properly jumped the kitchen, but he just missed the ball.
Yeah.
Like he just didn't make contact. So it was like, oh, when he doesn't make contact, he does the Ernie properly. When he makes contact, he just faults in the kitchen.
Straight through the kitchen.
So I think the biggest thing initially was just the graphics.
Oh my gosh. They've been working on this game for a while.
Yeah, I can't remember when the first teasers went out.
I don't remember either.
Early this year, maybe?
It was a little while ago. And
maybe late last year?
These graphics would have been bad in 2005.
Wait, actually, no. I think it was late last year because I thought there were maybe some clips of the pros playing it at Nationals.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah.
Yep. There was like a little booth in there playing it at TV there.
So we're coming up close to a year. It's probably 8 or 9 months. Mm-hmm. And now look, a video game takes a while to develop. But I just want to know who put this out and thought, Yeah, they had a meeting at some point and said, here's the state of the game, and said, someone in that meeting said, yeah, let's ship it.
Yeah.
It's good. Let's go.
There's no way the graphics team went, yeah, we're happy with this. Looks great.
All you guys need to know, if you want the easy summary of this, go to Memes of Pickleball, look at their clips. That'll tell you literally everything you need to know.
Yeah, that's very true. Memes Pickleball did a great job at summing this up, especially the one where they were like, they made Annalie Waters 6'3", 220 pounds. I mean, she looks massive in the video game. Huge.
And when she runs like a football player. Like her shoulder is like out when she runs side to side. It looks terrible.
It's so bad.
And go ahead.
Honestly, like Wii Tennis, Mario Tennis, like these other tennis or racket sport games I've played, infinitely better.
Oh, Wii Tennis is not even close.
Not even close.
I would much rather play Wii Tennis.
100%.
But even the gameplay, like at the net in Wii Tennis, at least you can like swing and it gets kind of fast. The gameplay, okay, let's go over the gameplay. The gameplay is just not fun. So you serve the ball. It's like the same serve every time. You can position it kind of, but that doesn't really change much. And then after that, once the rally starts, you have options to hit like anything you want. You can hit a lob, you can hit an aggressive drive, a regular drive, and you can hit a drop shot.
Yep.
Those are the shots you can hit. Once you get to the kitchen, if you're playing doubles, after like one or two balls of the kitchen, it goes into like a quick time event where you start a dink battle. So you hit X and you have to like time when you hit the ball, and then
there's like there's a X icon, and then there's a ring that closes on it and will change colors from like red being bad and then green when you want to hit it to time it well.
Yeah. And so if you hit it well, you hit like a perfect dink, and then they have to hit a dink. It's just the same thing over and over. Eventually, if there's a bad dink, you can hit a speed up or like an overhead.
It like
or
gets
an
popped up.
Yeah. But then if you start a firefight, which is the next thing, it's so bad because it happens so fast that most of the time, and it's like two different buttons you might have to hit. It's like X or circle, at least on PS5.
Yeah.
And the timing window's so small that you have to figure out which character the ball is going to go to in the hand battle, see what the icon is, and then press it.
There's a few times where I was like, oh, it's going into a dink battle. And then there's a firefight, and you have to react instantly. You're expecting to hit one button, and then there's something else there.
I'd like to know what the timing window is because it's so small that I'm like, there's no way you're going to have a realistic firefight in this game and have it last more than maybe 2 balls.
Honestly, I feel better about reacting to a speed up in real life.
Yeah, 100%. Yes, because at least I kind of know where that speed up's going. In the game, you're like, I don't know where this is going.
You have no clue what's happening.
There's no indication of the direction or anything.
Yep.
So to me, it just feels like you're playing a bunch of quick time events throughout the game. And it just doesn't feel very dynamic.
Yeah.
I think singles was probably more fun than doubles because you could actually control your character more and you didn't have the quick time events so much.
Yeah, exactly. Singles was definitely more fun than doubles.
Yeah.
But I will say, when we played singles, you were playing as some like pre-built character.
Yeah, like
that
I made my character.
As you, right?
Yep.
And then I think I was Lucy Kovalova. Bro. So there's the regular drive, there's the aggressive drive, which is supposed to be like it's going to be a winner if you hit it well, but you might hit it wide or hit it long or hit it out. Bro, no. Lucy Kovalova just never missed. I was able to just put that thing wherever I wanted, as sharp of a cross-court drive as I wanted. It's just impossible to lose.
Yeah,
like,
there were we were joking, there are certain balls that get hit that I just don't think you can return it. Like, your character's not fast enough to, first of all, react to whatever direction they're going to hit, run that way, and then actually hit the ball.
I hit a serve down your right side, my cross-court shot. Then you return down the line, and then I just yank that thing cross-court, and it's literally impossible to get to, and I can't miss.
Yeah.
So it was just so pointless.
Yeah. I honestly, the most laughing we got out of this game and the most fun we got out of it was just seeing how ridiculous either graphics or gameplay were. I mean, it crashed 3 times on us.
Yes. In a matter of what, less than 30 minutes?
Yeah, not
of
even
playing,
30 minutes.
Not maybe 20 minutes max
Yeah.
of playing. The game crashed 3 times.
And it just completely froze. You had to restart the game, reopen it. So it's just like,
it would take probably 3 minutes to reopen the game.
not 3 minutes. It was probably like 30 seconds or something.
No. The first time it crashed, it was definitely over 2 minutes for sure.
There's no way. I don't think it was that bad. But regardless, the fact that it's crashing on a console is insane.
Especially when it looks that bad. How big? Do you know how much storage data this game takes? It can't be that big.
I think it was like 8 gigs.
8 gigs?
Dude, I know. I'm like, okay, back in the day, the graphics on this thing are literally PS1 graphics.
Yeah.
So I'm like, how is this 8 gigs?
Dude, we had games on our phones back when the iPhone 3GS was out that were like 50 megabytes that had better graphics than this game, and it's 8 gigs.
It's really bad. It's for sure not worth $50.
No.
I mean,
if you just want to like laugh at how bad it is and goof around with some people, maybe, but it's just, no, it's worthless.
Here's the thing. I think it's cool that there's a pickleball video game, but if let's say Pickleball Studio made this video game, I would never want to put my name on this thing.
No.
I would think it would reflect more poorly on me as a brand releasing that than saying, oh, cool, we have a pickleball video game.
100%. There's no way people at the PPA are proud of this.
Yeah, I'd be shocked. I don't know. To me, I'm like, okay, how much did it cost to develop this video game? And instead of fixing line calls for actual tournaments, we built a video game.
Mm-hmm.
Which
that's just getting memed on.
Yeah. I mean, other than that, guys, that's about all we had to say about the game. I mean, even for the quick time events, a lot of times the button didn't match so like the circle's closing and you're like, oh, I'm going to time this right. It was always, you were always late hitting it. And I'm pretty sure the timing is not correct.
Yes.
It would be the equivalent of like playing Guitar Hero. And instead of hitting the button when it actually hits the circle, you have to hit the button early when it's outside of the zone.
Yeah.
Is how this
when
game
that ring
felt.
is closing, the timing and the graphics do not match up. Every time you had to hit it early.
Yeah.
Every time I'm like, okay, this is not gonna be good, but I hit it early and it said perfect.
Yeah.
And if you think it's good and you hit it, it's bad.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just not good.
No, it's not good. Hopefully they make it better at some point, but my expectations are very low. Go play Wii Tennis if you want to play a game that's kind of fun.
Yeah, don't waste your money, guys.
All right. Well, now that PBA put out something bad, we can talk about something that looks cool that they're doing.
Potentially good.
So they are going international.
Yeah.
So that'll be kind of cool. I mean, international growth has been getting talked about quite a bit. I've heard India's grown a lot. Mm-hmm. I've heard China's growing a lot. And now PPA is going to go do some tournaments over there. So I think that'll be really cool because I think once we get a lot of international growth, I feel like that's when the sport's going to go nuts.
Totally.
We've already done it in the U.S. It's, year over year, it's grown a lot. But once you expand to those markets, that'll be pretty insane. So I do think it's really good that they're going over there to kind of get in some of this. I know APP's done a few things.
Yep.
Now PPA has next year, 2025, Australia, January 25 through February 2nd, India, February 5th through 9th, Canada in September, Asia in October, and then Europe in October. The exact locations haven't been determined for that yet. But I think that'll be cool.
Yeah, I'm excited. The real question is, when are we booking tickets to Asia?
Oh my gosh. I mean, part of me does feel like we got to go to like one of these.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like, we got to go to one of these.
Yeah, I don't know which one I'd want to go to.
Depending on, I mean, you've been to Australia. Australia could be cool. You could visit Dale out there.
It's just such a long flight.
I mean, all of these are a long flight, man. Well, yeah, but except for Canada.
Canada would be cake.
Literally.
But Canada at that point doesn't even feel that different.
Yeah, exactly. It's not that exciting. I don't know.
I mean, it would still be cool to go. I haven't been to Canada, but
depending on where the Asia one is in October, that one could be really cool.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. I'll be curious if it's just pro or if surely they're going to do amateur too.
Yeah.
I don't know. It would be kind of cool to go and see like how the other countries are playing. I mean, all the clips, like tournaments from Asia, these people, I'm like, these people are already crazy.
They're already nuts. There's been some crazy highlights I've been seeing from Asia. It's nuts. They're getting really good.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see this. I think this will be really good for the game. And this is the type of stuff I'm like, okay, forget the video game.
Yeah.
Let's focus on this.
Like, let's put some money into this. I would love to know how much money got put into that game. Way too much.
For their sake, I hope it wasn't a lot because that was a big waste of money.
Yeah. But no, this is the exciting stuff that we all want to see that, gets us pumped and honestly just grows pickleball. Yeah. I think this is just good for the sport. Even if these events don't run super smoothly, it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah. Getting more international growth, I think, is really good.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Then next up, as far as news goes, where are the reviews? So we've had 3 podcasts in a row and no videos in between on this channel.
Yep.
And the reviews are coming back shortly, guys. So my move is mostly done. Like, my office is painted. I've moved stuff in. Now I'm just waiting to get internet in the house. And there's like a couple small things to move over from the apartment still. But we just needed to take some time and actually get the house set up, because I'm sure plenty of you who have moved before, your house just explodes. There were some rooms we had to paint. And then, like, I came back from some trips and I was like, okay, I just need to, like, take it easy, get the house done, and then we'll go right back into work. So next, this week when you watch this, we're going to have a reload first look video out. So that will be coming. And then probably the next video after that is going to be a review on the 6-0 quartz.
Yep.
I'm actually pretty excited for that one, I think.
You were hitting around with that yesterday.
Yep, sitting around with that, and I've hit it a while in the past. So that one I'm pretty excited for. So those are on the docket right now. Everything should be resuming normally pretty soon, as long as they install internet at my house. We're at 2.5 weeks now. They tried to come the first time. It rained. The second time they showed up, and like our internet fuse box or something was busted. So now another company has to come fix it, who hasn't come yet.
Yep.
And I'm convinced the internet company is going to come back and be like, hey, they fixed this? And I'm be like, no, I haven't heard from them. So I don't know. I just want internet.
That'll be another 2 weeks.
Oh, dude, if it's another week, I'll be so mad. There's no way.
It's insane. It's already crazy how long it's been taking.
I've been using a hotspot from my phone, which has not been good. And then today, when I upload this podcast, I'm probably going to bring my router back to the apartment, plug it in, upload, and then go back home. So it's not good. But yeah, so reviews have just been on the back burner because of the move. But we're pretty much
working
done now.
on it. Working on it.
The court builders have come to scope out the house.
Ooh, very nice, very nice.
So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, and you're saying all the contractors that have come over, they all play pickleball.
Yeah, everyone plays pickleball. So
that's hilarious.
The guy who will do the excavating, he plays pickleball with his kids occasionally. He had like a Dura. I believe it looked just like a Dura, had the different shaped holes. But he said it's basically been sitting in his car since 2015.
Which is insane.
That ball was mush. And he was like, yeah, sometimes the ball just dies and it doesn't go anywhere. And I was like, dude, let me give you some new balls. I was like, if they're that old, they're going to be junk.
Yeah.
And it was even funnier because every contractor who has come over, if they come in the basement, which is where all the paddles are right now, with like 400 something paddles, they come upstairs and like, you play pickleball or something? And I'm always like, oh yeah, it's my job. I could do it for a living. And then I explain the paddle reviews. But I want to know what their reaction would be if I just said, oh yeah, it's just like a hobby.
Just a hobby of mine.
Just 400 paddles on the floor in the basement. And they're like, what's wrong with this guy?
Almost nobody knows how much that amount of paddles actually costs.
Yeah, it's
insane.
It's bonkers. It would be a significant down payment on a house if you like sold all those paddles.
Very good down payment.
So it's been funny. I've like given one of the contractors, I gave him like 5 paddles because he's like, oh dude, me and my buddies play. And I was like, take some paddles.
Just take
I was
these.
like, I don't need these. You take them.
Trying to schmooze them up, get a nice discount on that home court, huh?
That would be nice. No, the guy that I gave the 5 paddles to, he was just like a pipe contractor. He was like cleaning our pipes.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's been funny. I mean, just every single person's like, oh yeah, pickleball.
Hey, it's the best.
Yep.
It's growing.
So all right, let's go on to our main topic here.
Yeah.
Are the Joola Gen 3's back? Whew. So Joola announced the Mod TA-15 Pro Edition.
Yep.
So what's interesting about this, there's some things we got to go over first. I've already seen comments online, people saying, how is this legal? Doesn't it still have the propulsion core? And I think it even advertises the propulsion core. Mm-hmm. As far as we know right now, the Joola Gen 3 was never banned because of a trampoline effect or because of power. All the like legal documents I've seen and just what Joola and USAP have reported is it's because the Mod TA-15 was what got submitted to USAP back in September, October, whatever time last year. And then when the Gen 3s came out, they were different on the inside from the mod that was submitted. Yep. And then when USAP found this out, they were like, hey, these are different. We're upset with this, and then delisted them. So as far as I know, it was never grit. It was never the core. It was nothing like that. It was just that what came out was different than what they had received. So if you're wondering, like, why? That's probably why. Because the mod was never delisted. That's what the pros have all been playing with, allegedly. We have
so it sounds like, the Gen. It's similar. Sounds similar to the Gen 3. Yep.
And so We have some on the way. I will obviously cut one open as soon as I get one so that we can see if the inside's different.
My theory is it's the same construction, just less foam.
Yeah.
That would be my
That would
guess.
be my guess too. I think, which means I'll be curious to see how different it plays because we've talked to people and
I've messed with one.
a lot of them say, I was talking to someone at Newport and he was saying, yeah, it is just a toned down Gen 3.
Yeah.
Like it's not quite as ridiculous. And I got to bounce a ball a little bit and I could kind of see that, but not enough to like play test it.
Yep. And I was playing against somebody who has one, a friend of ours, and on drives and hard shots and stuff, it's still fast. Like it's still hard, but I would say it's definitely not as fast and hard as the Gen 3s in drives and stuff. But where it still is very similar is counters. Counters are still ridiculous with this mod paddle. The counters were crazy. So still very difficult to deal with. But drives and stuff were much more manageable.
Okay. Yeah, I'll be curious to see when we get it. And I'm curious, we'll pose this question to the viewers. What do you guys, you see this come out? If you were a Gen 3 user, are you going to go buy this? Or after, all the debacle, are you like, I'm going to wait it out or I'm skeptical? Because I bet a lot of people are going to go buy. There's a lot of people who liked the Gen 3 and want it back.
Yep.
But I just wonder if the consumers are worried or scared at all now.
I feel like there's definitely going to be a large group of people that are and just don't want to deal with the hassle. Because now that everyone's dealt with Joola's customer service and they realize how awful it was, no one wants to do that again. Especially with how much was it cost, these paddles?
Basically $300 after tax.
It's right around $300 again. No one's going to want to risk that headache.
See, I'll just be curious because everyone basically got the refund they wanted. I mean, it might have been slow, but they got it. I just wonder if that people will be less scared because of that. I don't know. You guys let us know in the comments. I'm curious what you guys think.
Some friends of mine that I know said they'll never buy a Joola paddle again because of this.
I mean, yeah, some of it was pretty drastic for sure.
Yeah.
But
I'm very curious to hit them. I think it'll be, oh man. What do you think? Do you think this technology and these paddles is good or bad for the game?
I mean, I feel like I've already talked about it a little bit. I'm not. It's tricky because I feel like when the Gen 3s were out, it was changing pickleball in a way that was definitely less fun because everyone was like, oh my gosh, I can just drive every ball and like hit people.
Yeah.
So I didn't like that, but I do wonder if it was around longer, if that style would tone down, if it would just, people would get used to it. Because I think with Gen 3s entering the game, basically the skill you have to get really good at is countering and like, or just letting out balls go.
Yeah.
And if you get really good at counters, now people might be a little bit more afraid to speed up with that Gen 3. Or if you have really good speed ups and can hit good spots, like their counters are bad. So I think certain skills just become more important. I'm personally not a fan of them. When they were around, I wasn't having a fun time. But I also realized the way I want to play the game may not be the way that's best for the game overall.
Sure.
Right? Maybe I just have to get better. But I don't know. What it did for that month. Like right now, most of the paddles in the game, pretty content with. I play against a paddle tech. I'm not going, oh my gosh, this is insane.
Yeah.
The gearboxes out in Newport, that was kind of like, okay, yeah, I remember how this feels to play against.
Yep.
But the game overall does not feel that bad right now.
Sure.
With the lack of Gen 3s.
Okay.
Also, the mod right now is only in a Perseus shape.
Yep.
So you can't get in a Scorpius, can't get in a Magnus, Hyperion.
And it comes in 14 and 16, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So that I think will also limit how many people are going to buy it because, people like different. I liked the Hyperion. Works for someone like you. You liked the Perseus.
Yep.
But you want a Scorpius or a Magnus? Yeah.
Nope.
You're out of luck. So
I just don't want the game where all paddles are crazy hot and it becomes racquetball where eye protection is mandatory.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing is I still wear my eye protection all the time, but I've been less concerned lately wearing it than I was when the Gen 3s were out.
Same.
And again, this is what I mean. So obviously there's quite a bit of paddle techs. Maybe people do just get used to the speed a little bit because the paddle tech's a hot paddle. It's not Gen 3, but like
it's still
it slaps the ball.
Yeah.
For sure. When someone has that and they have like good hands or heavy drives, like it comes quick. But I don't know. I played a paddle tech last night, 12-7, and I was like, yeah.
See, I've played against multiple different people with the paddle techs and the Joolas. My opinion is, and I've talked to some pros and they feel the same. This is how they feel when they play with amateurs, is I'm not afraid of someone who just hits the ball really hard. Like, look at one of our pros here, Amrik. Like, yes, he's scary to deal with, but most of the time his drives are pretty consistent and like not wild.
They're not like height.
Yeah,
like
they're not
aiming
all
at
over
your
the
head.
place. You kind of know where they're going to be.
Yep.
But I've played against people who just go, oh, I have a hot paddle. I'm going to swing as hard as I can. That's when I'm scared.
Yeah.
Like I've had some balls recently flash my head, go over like right next to my eye, and I get really lucky. And all those people are people who just swing as hard as they can.
Yeah.
Those are the people I don't want to have those paddles.
Yeah.
And so really it's not as much of a paddle issue, and it's just people just trying to swing hard. But it's the paddle that incentivizes it.
For sure. The other thing I'm curious about is the Gen 3s were core crushing a pretty good amount, at least in our area. Basically, every single person who had a Gen 3, they're core crushed.
Very fast. Our friend Alan, his crushed in a week.
Week and a half.
Yeah,
maybe
super,
2 weeks.
Super fast. His was a Scorpius 16.
Yep. I mean, I asked everyone, and I'm not going to say there was nobody. I'm sure there were people who didn't core crush it, but the majority of people that I encountered after 2 weeks, that core was core crushed. So are people, again, going to want to chance it on the mod if it's still going to have core crushing? It's annoying to deal with the warranty. So I don't know. I'm very curious to see how that shakes out, because I would say of recent paddles, that was probably the one that seemed like it was core crushing the most.
Yeah.
Granted, their scale is more, so you're just going to see more of
And I was
it.
going to say, it's interesting because we were talking about this last week on how the core crushing issue has kind of toned down.
Yeah.
Like a lot of companies have just kind of fixed it. Maybe not fixed it, but
It's a lot
managed
less.
it. Yeah. So it's interesting how almost all of the Joolas around our area were core crushing.
Also, interesting, we'll just talk about this quick since we're talking about core crushing. An interesting thing that a lot of people might not know, but core crushing, with what the information I currently have, and it makes sense, is that it comes crushed out of the box. And then you as the player break it down to the point where it gets really crunchy, and then you start hearing it. So basically, these paddles, the polymer gets cut, and it can be inconsistent. I don't know what the actual variance of the cut can be. So like, let's say you had a 15 millimeter paddle, you might get 15.5, 15.6, 15.8, maybe more. I don't know what the variance is, but at a certain point it's too thick. And when it gets put into the mold too thick and it gets closed and all the weight is coming down for the heat and the thermoforming, it crushes the core and it buckles.
Molds are very precise.
Yep.
Molds are exactly 15 or 16 millimeters.
Or whatever they are, yeah.
Yep.
And so it's kind of like a straw where, like, once it gets pressed, it like collapses or bends in a certain
Folds
area.
on itself.
Yeah, it folds on itself, and then it is crushed. Because I've cut open a lot of paddles. I actually filmed a video in the spring of this year that I never published because I thought it would be too boring. But I basically cut open, 10 different paddles, like a lot of the most popular paddles. And there were a number of them that were slightly crushed out of the box that did not make a crunch before I cut it. So that's how a lot of the core crushing works. So usually, basically, you're kind of like good or bad just straight out of the factory.
Yeah.
It's kind of like why Gen 1s don't really crush, is because they're not crushed when they're built. And so you don't really core crush those. Whereas with the thermoform paddles, they get crushed out of the box. Some might be more severe than others. Like maybe in the beginning, when it came out, I'm going to make up numbers. But let's say you had a 16 millimeter paddle and you're putting a 17.2 millimeter core in there. It's going to crush a lot more than if you get like a 15.3 and now it maybe crushes this much
a little bit.
versus like that much.
Yeah. I mean, I remember back when the Legacies came out, I played with one and I core crushed it in less than 2 weeks.
I mean, everything back then was crazy.
Every Gen 2 paddle core crushed back then.
And it was so fast. People were doing it in a week, 2 weeks.
The fastest one ever that I did was the Hudef paddle that I core crushed it
Like
severely
2 days or something.
A day. The
Yeah.
end of one day it was core crushed. And then the second day it was, I mean, you could hear that thing crunching from across a building. It was insane.
So it's gotten a lot better overall. Curious to see how Joola deals with it. I'm curious how many quantity they have of this. Is this just a temporary thing?
Limited run.
Or is it going to be around until the lawsuit settles? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I wish there was more updates on that. I'm very, very curious, very nosy.
Yeah.
I like with the mod paddle, I like how it looks. The design is nice.
It's funny because I feel like a lot of people, every time Joola has released, so when they had the original alphas for the Gen 2
Yeah.
and now the Gen 3, every time people see the alphas, like, I love that design. And then they release something a lot brighter, more logos, which makes sense from a marketing standpoint.
Yep.
And then everyone's like, oh, I just wish they gave me like the alpha. Well, now you can finally have that.
Now you can have the alpha. They look so much better.
See, I actually didn't mind the Gen 3s. I kind of liked the color.
I didn't mind the color gradient. The color gradient was nice, but just all the random lines across the face, and it's too much. It's like their graphics team was like, they had 12 people, and they're like, all right, you get to put one thing, you get to put one thing, and they just slapped everything on there. That's how Zane's paddle was, too.
Well, yeah, his original one was pretty bad. But some of it makes sense. I get it from a branding standpoint. You need your logo all over for cameras, and you want it to be recognizable. But from a general consumer point of view, you're kind of going, I don't need it to say Joola on the side, Joola on the top right, Joola on the bottom left, Joola on the grip. You're just like, I don't need this many logos on here.
Yeah. Have you seen, a little bit off topic, but similar, have you seen, there's a post on the kitchen of somebody who had a Gen 3 but took Sharpie.
Oh, yeah, and they blacked it all out. That memes that Pickleball posted about that.
Yeah, so people couldn't see what it, like, you're trying to hide it.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, you're going to hear it. Yeah. Everyone's going to know what it sounds like.
One balling, you know what that paddle is. Yeah. You can't hide it.
Yeah,
you can hide it when you show up, but once you hit a ball, people are going to be like, oh, yeah, it's a Gen 3.
So now that proposes a question. How do you feel about people, if they kept them, playing with it in rec?
For me, I don't really care. I think there's going to be a lot of people who probably do or who are annoyed by it, but for me, it's kind of whatever. I might have, depending on the person, I might have a little less fun, but I'm not going to stop someone from playing with it.
Yeah, I'm in a similar boat. If it's just rec and nothing competitive, whatever, I don't really care.
Yeah.
But if it's a competitive setting, like a tournament or maybe a league or something, then I would care a little bit more. Even like right as the ban happened, our local CT tournament, the big tournament we have this each year, they made an announcement, sent out an email saying all Gen 3 paddles were used or banned.
Yep.
And I walked in, I saw 3 being used.
Did they get pulled out?
I think some people ended up telling them.
Oh, okay.
And I think I might have mentioned something. I think they went over and told them, like, hey, you can't use those.
Yeah.
So, but it wasn't like it wasn't in like the pro division or anything. I think it was lower division, but still. Yeah. If you're not supposed to use them, don't use them.
Yeah.
But I'm curious how many people out there still.
Oh, there's definitely still a number of people who do. I mean, I hear about it. Some groups just don't really care. And the way that I think Zane might have said this on one of their podcasts a while ago, but the way I probably view a lot of these paddles, and this is where it becomes kind of gray, is I don't really care if someone uses it and it just kind of levels the playing field for them and it's not overpowering people. It just kind of makes the game a little easier for them.
Yep.
Same thing with EVA foam paddles. But if I play like you with an EVA foam paddle, I'm not going to have any fun.
Yeah.
It will be terrible. But if it takes a 4.0 and like maybe bumps them up to like a 4.3 or something, I probably don't really care. So it's just like situation dependent.
Yeah.
For me, I think it's easier to just tell people, hey, you probably shouldn't use these, because then you don't have to decide, okay, in this group, it's fine if you use it. In this group, you're too good if you use it, you know?
In my opinion, there should be no one, if you use them, whatever. I couldn't care. But if you're someone who plays tournaments, why would you use it? Because you can't use them. I've seen some people who just use it just to have fun.
Well, I think most people who are probably still using it probably don't really play tournaments.
Yeah. Well, there's been a couple people who I know play tournaments and then still use it.
Okay, that's just weird. Fun. That doesn't make any sense.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
That would just throw my tournaments off entirely.
Yeah. Dude, we switch paddles like every other day, and that is already pain enough.
Yeah.
But going back, I remember when those got banned, I stopped using it. Going from one of those to a Gen 2 was so difficult.
Oh, yeah, it's really weird.
It's like going from Franklin to Dura, except worse. Yeah. It was so hard to hit the ball.
Yeah.
Felt like I had no power.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, that's the mod. We'll see. I think early August is probably when those should be in hand. So,
yeah,
we'll keep you guys posted when we have them. But we've made it to the kitchen.
Yeah.
And first thing I want to ask everyone, because I'm deciding this for myself right now. I mean, my dimensions for my court in the backyard are kind of limited, particularly in the width. I could apply for like a city variance, but I don't think I'm going to do that because it sounds like a pain. But do you guys care about length or width in the pickleball court more? You can just leave a comment down below and let me know. But which do you care more about?
I personally would say width.
Okay, interesting.
I care more about width because with length, okay, yes, it's difficult to deal with serves sometimes or running back if someone's hitting an overhead. But what's frustrating to me the most is we have a facility here, Lucky Shots. Some of their courts, very tight on the width. ATPs, extremely difficult. And a lot of like not even high shots. Say you hit a drop, maybe shoulder high. Not even. I can just cut that angle so short and put it right into the fence, and that ball is impossible to get to. Impossible.
Okay, let's take the local park that's right near us.
Yep.
At that one, which bothers you more, the width or the length?
At that one, the length, because the width is still wide enough.
So that width does not bother you, because that's
it. They both. Here's the thing with that one. It's interesting. They both bother me equally. I probably would add width to those.
over length.
Over length.
Okay.
Yeah.
Most people I've talked to so far, they've all said they would rather have length. So I'm curious what most people say. And obviously, if you have too little of one or the other, it's obviously bad.
Especially if I'm playing singles. I would much rather have width.
Sure. Because, okay, so like Allen's, does width or length bother you there?
No, his is great. His court's great.
Okay.
The width, there's only one side is slightly tighter towards the garage because of those chairs and whatnot. Sometimes it bothers me when I'm hitting an ATP.
Sure.
And I get a little bit close to stuff. But his seems to have plenty of space.
Gotcha. Yeah, just as I was running all the measurements to build my court, and the width is going to be a little tighter than what I thought because they can't put the concrete like right up to the garage like I was imagining initially. We'll still have plenty. We'll have at least the same amount as the park by us. Maybe a little bit more. I might have like a foot extra on each side. The length, I could kind of do whatever I want.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably going to be 65 feet, but I could even go up to 70. So I was just trying to think. I was like, okay, do I go the extra mile and do 70 or do I just do 65?
No, ball out. Go 70.
Well, the problem is if I do 70, that entire fire pit in the backyard probably has to come out. If I do 65, most of it can stay.
But the thing is, if you keep it, aren't you just going to have something like a tripping hazard behind you then?
Not maybe. I got to think about some of that too, because I think what I'm going to do is once the concrete pad finishes, I'm probably going to do a couple feet of turf or mulch so that people have runoff space from the pad.
Some of the home courts I've played on that it scared me the most playing on is where it's not enough width and length, but it's a quick drop off, and then there's just like rock landscaping behind it, and I'll like be backing up, my foot will just slip off the edge, or get stuck in the rocks. And I think, didn't you mention that at Kyle's place last year?
There's a little bit of a drop off in one area, and I talked to him too, and he's like, I would. He said no one serves big there because the length is a little too short. So he said he would add length, and he was fine with how his width was.
Okay. How wide is his court?
30 or 32 feet.
Okay. And how wide do you think yours is going to be?
34 to 35. 35 ideally, but that might be pushing it.
35 would be nice.
Yeah. So I don't know. I put sticks all around the yard, like poking up, so I know where the concrete ends and then where the court starts. I think it's going to be fine. But because in my head I pictured such a big court originally, I'm like, it's a bummer it won't be quite as big. But I still think it'll be more than playable.
Yeah. Have you come up with colors yet?
No, I still got to look into that. But that's like one of the last things.
Okay.
So I, get the concrete built, then get the painters or whatever. So I think it's going to be pretty neutral-ish colors, like green or blue, or I don't think I'm going to do anything crazy. It'd be cool to try something fun, but I just don't think I'll do it.
Blue and gray, man. Those are the colors I
No,
like.
not gray. I think gray is too annoying for line calls.
No, for the kitchen. Gray kitchen.
I still think it's too light. I'd rather just have dark colors.
Interesting.
Like green in the kitchen, green outside, maybe blue the rest, or I don't know. I got to think about it a little bit, but yeah, something like that.
All right.
Yep. All right. Next thing in the kitchen. How do you prep for a tournament?
Yeah, prepping for tournaments. We've got a few tournaments coming up. We've got Kansas City coming up. Might be doing Chicago the end of August.
Wow, you do. I'm not playing in it.
Yeah, you're not.
I'm going to be in Kansas for PickleCon, and I'm sure I'll come to the PPA because I'm going to be there. But I decided to not compete. After Newport and this house move and not really getting to play that much lately, I just thought, okay, it doesn't make sense to... I felt like I would be throwing money away since I haven't gotten to play that much.
That's fair. Now, for me, it's a lot of, especially Kansas City, now that I know what it was like last year, because it was like 100 million degrees and I passed out after singles. Been doing a ton of conditioning for tournaments and stuff, especially when I'm drilling. I'll like go out to the court and do a lot of sprints, a lot of line running, and then just drilling a ton. For me, what I find I struggle the most when it comes to tournaments is drops. My drops suffers. I don't know what it is because I'm not nervous.
Yeah.
I rarely ever get nervous in tournaments, but tournament starts, drops suck. So I'm constantly drilling drops, especially right before tournaments.
Sure.
That's especially when I get to the tournament, I warm up, all I want to hit is just drops.
Yeah.
And then just making sure paddles and everything are ready. I usually bring probably 3 to 4 paddles of the same paddle.
It's funny because you really don't need like 3 maybe.
Dude.
2 is probably fine.
You never know. I've had times where I need the other one just because I played singles with one, and then the next day I was like, it was Lakeville. Grit was gone.
Yeah.
After singles, the next day when I played with it, dude, I had no spin on my paddle. So I had another one backed up. You never know, man. You know, especially after that CT tournament, you never know when the paddle might explode.
The real reason he needs to do it, guys, is because he loses to his older brother, then smashes his paddle when he has to walk up to the net.
That was ridiculous. Hey, I
We're
didn't
gonna
walk
roll
up to
that
I was
clip.
already,
We can put that clip in the pod.
I'll put it in there. I was already at the net. But
yeah, I know. You walked up one.
Hey, it's funny. I love watching that clip. It is. Oh, I love watching that clip. You can see me contemplate it at first.
Yeah, and then the intrusive thought won.
Dude, it felt so good. Almost everyone I've talked to who's smashed paddle says it's such a great feeling.
Yeah, it was just such a waste of a paddle.
That paddle was dying anyways.
Someone could take the donation.
But anyway, what do you like to do? Is there anything like drill wise or exercise wise you like to do?
Problem for me is because there's always paddle reviews to be doing. Like I don't really feel like some tournaments I get to prep more than others. Like I don't know what the last tournament that I would say I really prepped for was. I mean, I always try and get out and play more, but because of the paddle reviews, I'm usually hitting a different one. I might slow it down a little bit. Most of the time not. The biggest thing for me lately has been trying to hydrate ahead of a tournament because, you know, you can't just like drink a bunch of water the day before. You want to do it leading up. So been trying to do that more. But for me, that's about it. I think if I had my ideal, like let's just say 2 weeks leading up to a tournament, I could just stop reviewing paddles or something. I would probably be drilling a lot. I'd probably try and drill 3 times a week. Specific things that I want to work on. And then, honestly, that would probably be about it. Towards, like, maybe in the last week, I'd try and set up some more competitive games. Specifically simulating a tournament. Like, people know this is a competitive game. We're going to do a 2 out of 3, maybe a 3 out of 5. You can take timeouts if you want. Take breaks for water and whatnot. That, I think, helps simulate a tournament. Especially if I know going into that session, we're only playing a 2 out of 3. Or a 3 out of 5 instead of knowing I might play 8 games because I know I have to care for those 2 or 3 games. And if I don't get any other games after, well, like you played poorly. That's exactly how a tournament would go.
That's how it goes. Yep.
Yeah. So
I was gonna ask you if you eat anything special or have different meals before a tournament. Then I realized it's the same. You muffins and beef sticks. That's all you eat. I know because when I travel with you, we go to the store and the first thing you put in the cart is muffins and beef sticks.
Yeah, but I haven't had the beef sticks in a minute, but those are really good. I always pick up the muffins at the tournament just because it's an easy breakfast. I don't have to cook anything or whatever. But the only thing I've considered doing, and it's really hard. I'm lactose intolerant, so sometimes leading up to a tournament, I try not to eat a lot of dairy. I still eat dairy all the time.
Yep.
I usually fail at that. I mean, you just see like a pizza or a cheeseburger or something with cheese. Everything has dairy. That's the problem.
Everything has dairy.
It's so hard to not. And I like dairy too much to give it up. But I will try and do that sometimes because sometimes it makes a big difference of having dairy or not having dairy. So sometimes that, but I don't know. It's just difficult. I feel like because of the content, I will always prioritize the content over the tournament unless it's maybe nationals or a qualifier or something. But I mean, at the end of the day, what am I going to pick? Going and winning a random PPA like Kansas where it doesn't really mean anything. I mean, it's cool to win. Obviously, I want to win.
Right.
Or will I prioritize the thing that puts food on the table for me? Like, I'm going to choose the content because that's what pays my bills.
Yeah. This one's not a Golden Take qualifier, is it?
No.
No.
PBA didn't do any this year because they're doing their own nationals, which,
that's right.
to my understanding, I think anyone can just sign up for.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't think it's a qualifying thing. I got to go look at it again. I haven't looked in a minute. They haven't advertised it that well. But yeah, I should probably look at that and maybe sign up for that.
Interesting.
Because
they didn't say when it was.
No, it's early November.
Okay.
Or
Have
October.
They decided a venue?
Yeah, same one as last year.
Oh gosh, that place.
Yeah, we'll see. As long as they don't do like 3,600 people again,
dude,
it might be fine.
As long as they fix the bathroom situation there, that's honestly.
You know what will be interesting too is USAP has their nationals the week after, I think, so they're back to back.
Oh gosh.
And I don't think I'll get to go to both. I didn't qualify at Newport, and I don't think I'm going to another Golden qualifier. So it'd be kind of unfortunate to not go this year because I've thought the tournaments have been good in the past. So
yeah,
might end up at the UPA one if it's just anyone can register because, well,
why not?
Might as well go and see if it improved from last year.
Yeah. So
we'll see.
If you're not playing in Kansas City, you should vlog the event.
Yeah, I'm definitely not doing that. I do not have. I can do vlogging if someone else has the camera and just follows me around. Yeah, but you're competing.
That's what I'm saying. I know, but I'm always the one who has to be following you.
Yeah,
with the camera.
exactly. So that way, it's fine. But I cannot have a conversation with someone and hold a camera and be like, "Yeah, look, I'm gonna record us talking." Like, it just doesn't feel like a real conversation at that point.
That's fair. That's fair.
I think vlogging has potential in pickleball. It hasn't really been done right yet.
Yeah,
but it's just a lot of work to do it.
It is a ton of work, and especially like. I feel like all the people who have vlogged and done it successfully, it is just have to do it every single day. Yeah. And coming up with stuff to do every single day, especially for pickleball,
I think it can be done, but it would be hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it'll be fun. If you guys are going to PickleCon, let me know. I will probably swing by at least a couple of the days. One of the days for sure I will be there, and then I'm sure I'll come check out the other days and just see what's going on. I'll probably swing by the PPA one of the days at least. I mean, I'm not competing, so it's probably not really a lot to do there unless obviously you're playing, so I'll probably come watch that. But yeah, it'll be kind of weird to be.
Do you have any tournaments lined up for the future yet?
After Kansas, I got nothing on the docket, which honestly I kind of need that. I think I need to get everything done with the house, get back making all the content I need, probably recharge a little bit, and then get back on the tournaments. But I think there was just this summer, there was so much happening at once that it was just too much travel and too much stuff with the house.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I got. You got anything else?
I don't think so. That's it for me.
Cool. Well, thanks. Where did Steve go?
Steve's just been chilling down here on
he's on your lap.
Base of the mic. He went down and...
He didn't want to hang out on the shoulder today.
No, not today.
Dude, he is very stuck to you. I don't know how that doesn't dig into you. Just looks painful from here.
No, through the shirt, he just grabs onto the shirt. Now, if he gets my skin, he's scratched me a few times. He's got some nasty claws.
Yeah, for sure.
But good old Steve.
All right, cool. Well,
sweet.
We'll catch you guys next week.
Yep. See you later.
Later.
Peace.